Lena Harris sat alone in her corner office, perched on the 32nd floor of Harris Luxe Motors headquarters in Baymont. The city's restless light shimmering beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows like a constellation she'd spent her life chasing. The room was a cocoon of quiet at this hour, the faint hum of the air conditioning blending with the distant thrum of traffic far below, a steady pulse that matched the rhythm of her thoughts. At 38, she'd built an empire from dust. Harris Luxe Motors, a luxury car brand that had risen from a single cramped garage to a network of showrooms dotting the country, each one a testament to her defiance. The slogan, "Luxury for All," wasn't just marketing. It was her creed, forged in the fire of an industry that had sneered at a black woman daring to play its game. Tonight, though, as she leaned back in her leather chair, the glow of her laptop casting sharp shadows across her desk, that triumph felt fragile, teetering on the edge of something she couldn't yet name. She reached for a glass of water, the cool rim brushing her lips, when her eye snagged on an envelope tucked beneath a stack of glossy sales reports she'd meant to skim before heading home. It was plain, unassuming, the kind of thing she might have overlooked if not for the way her name was scrawled across it in tight, deliberate strokes. Lena Harris, CEO, Harris Luxe Motors. No return address, just a Baymont postmark stamped 3 days old, the ink slightly smudged like it had been rushed through the mail. Her brow furrowed, a flicker of unease curling in her gut as she slid it free, the paper crisp and cool against her fingertips. She grabbed a letter opener from the drawer, its silver edge catching the lamplight, and sliced it open with a clean rip, the sound sharp in the stillness. A single sheet slipped out, folded once, and as she unfolded it, the words hit her like a fist to the chest, raw, unfiltered, a jolt that stole her breath. "Dear Ms. Harris," it began, the handwriting steady but heavy with weight. "I'm writing as a longtime admirer of your brand, someone who believed in what you stood for. Last week, I visited your Baymont Heights showroom, ready to buy a Harris Phantom, my dream car, a symbol of everything I've worked for. I'm a black man who's built a decent life, small business owner, steady income, and I walked in with cash in hand, excited to invest in your vision. But I was treated like I didn't belong, like I wasn't worth the time of day. The staff barely looked at me, brushed me off with half answers, and the manager flat out refused to let me see the Phantom, saying it was reserved. Minutes later, I watched a white customer stroll in dressed no fancier than me, jeans and a polo get ushered straight to that same car with smiles, handshakes, the works. I left humiliated, Miss Harris, my excitement replaced with a shame I haven't felt in years. I thought your company was different, luxury for all, right? If this is how you let your people treat us, then maybe I was wrong about you." It was signed Marcus Evans, followed by a phone number scrawled in a hurried hand, and a final piercing line. "I hope you care enough to read this." Lena's breath hitched, her fingers tightening on the page until the edges crumpled under her grip, the paper crackling faintly in the silence. She read it again, slower this time, each word sinking deeper, a cold ache blooming in her chest that spread like frost through her veins. Marcus Evans wasn't just a customer, he was her reflection. A man who climbed his own mountain only to find the same old wall she'd faced 15 years ago. She built Harris Luxe Motors for people like him, like her, vowing it'd be a place where money mattered more than skin, where dignity wasn't a privilege you had to prove. And now this a slap of betrayal from her own house, a wound that cut deeper because it bore her name. She shoved the letter aside, the motion sharp enough to send a pen skittering across the desk, and stood fast, her chair rolling back with a muted thud against the hardwood floor. She paced to the window, the cool glass pressing against her palms as she stared out at Baymont's sprawling glow rain streaking the streets below, neon signs blurring into a hazy dance of red and blue. Her mind spun, pulling her back to the Fangers, early days 18 and wide-eyed, trailing her dad into a dealership on the edge of town, her sneakers scuffing the polished floor as he asked about a used sedan. The salesman had barely glanced at him, his eyes sliding past to a white guy in a cheaper suit, offering him a test drive with a grin while her dad got a curt, "We're out of stock." She'd felt the sting then, the quiet rage in her father's clenched jaw, and swore she'd make it different, swore she'd build something where no one walked away feeling small. That vow had fueled her through college on scholarships, through nights welding frames in a rented garage, through pitch after pitch to investors who smirked at her ambition. She'd turned those smirks into signatures, those doubts into deals, launching Harris Luxe Motors with a single showroom and a promise. Luxury wasn't a birthright. It was a choice anyone could claim. Now Marcus's words cracked that foundation, a mirror held up to a truth she'd let herself ignore. The reports on her desk bragged success sales up 12%. Baymont Heights, a shining star in the chain. But this letter sliced through that like a blade through silk, exposing a rot she hadn't seen coming. She'd trusted her managers to carry. Her vision hammered luxury for all into every training session, every corporate email. Had she been too caught up in the climb to notice it fraying? The ache turned hot, a slow burn of anger and shame twisting together in her gut. She snatched the letter back up, rereading Marcus's closing line. "I hope you care enough to read this," and felt it like a dare, a quiet challenge she couldn't duck. She cared, damn right, she cared. But caring wasn't enough if her own people were slamming doors she'd fought to open. She grabbed her phone from the desk, the screen flaring to life as she dialed James Carter, her assistant since the days they'd shared a leaky office above a tire shop, plotting her first big break over cheap coffee. He picked up on the second. Ring, his voice steady despite the late hour, a familiar anchor in the storm brewing inside her. "Lena, what's up? You sound off." She paced back to her chair, sinking into it as she gripped the phone tighter. "You're damn right I'm off. James, just got a letter from a guy named Marcus Evans. Says he got treated like dirt at Baymont Heights. Wanted a Phantom, had the cash, but they wouldn't even let him look at it 'cause he's black. Then, some white guy waltzes in, same deal, gets the VIP treatment right in front of him. What the hell is this?" A pause stretched on the line, heavy with the weight of her words. Then James's tone hardened, a rare edge cutting through his usual calm. "That's not right, Baymont Heights. That's Victor Grayson's spot. Reports say he's golden sales through the roof, top numbers every quarter." "Yeah, well, numbers don't mean squat if this is how he's running it," Lena snapped, her voice rising, sharp enough to echo off the glass walls. "I need to see it myself. Get me a flight to Baymont Heights, first thing tomorrow. No corporate bookings, no heads up to anyone. Just a ticket, quiet like personal trip." Another pause, then James chuckled soft, a knowing lilt softening. The tension. "You're going undercover again, aren't you? Like that time in Dallas when you busted the part scam caught that guy red-handed." Lena smirked despite herself, the memory flickering through the haze a week posing as a supplier, catching a manager skimming profits, his face paling when she dropped the act. "Something like that," she said, her tone steadying, resolve, hardening beneath the anger. "This one's personal. James, if Marcus is right, if my own people are pulling this, I need to know how deep it goes. No filters." "Got it," James said, keys clicking fast in the background, his efficiency kicking in. "Flight's booked 8. M lands you there by 10. I'll email you the details. Anything else?" "Keep your phone close," Lena replied, her voice dropping low, firm. "Might need you to dig if this gets messy records. Feedback, whatever's buried." "Always do," he said, and she could hear the grin in his tone before the line clicked off. Leaving her alone with the silence again, Lena set the phone down, Marcus's letter staring up at her from the desk like a ghost she couldn't shake. She crossed the room to a small closet tucked by the door. yanking it open with a tug that rattled the hinges, the sound sharp in the quiet. She rifled through, bypassing a row of tailored blazers, her usual armor, for a pair of faded jeans. And a crisp white button-down, the fabric soft but plain, nothing to catch an eye. She grabbed a scuffed leather crossbody bag from the shelf, its strap worn from years of use, and swapped her sleek heels for a pair of clean sneakers, simple, muted, the kind that blended into a crowd. No jewelry, no logoed briefcase, just Lena Harris. Customer, not Lena Harris. Billionaire who'd graced magazine covers and boardroom podiums. She stepped to the full-length mirror by the door, adjusting the shirt's collar, her dark hair pulled back into a tight ponytail that framed her face in sharp lines. "If they don't know me," she murmured, meeting her own piercing gaze, the brown of her eyes catching the lamplight, "they'll show me who they really are, and what I've let happen." She smirked, a flicker of resolve cutting through the tangle of emotions, and grabbed her keys, not the sleek fob to her custom Phantom parked in the garage below. A car she'd designed herself down to the stitching, but the spares to a rented sedan she'd pick up at the airport. She slipped out of the office, the soft click of the door echoing in the empty hall as she nodded to the night guard stationed by the elevators, his uniform crisp under the fluorescent buzz. "Heading out, Reggie," she said, her voice casual, light, like she was just grabbing takeout after a long day. He waved back, his smile easy, oblivious to the storm brewing inside her. "Night, Ms. Harris drives safe in that rain." She nodded, stepping into the elevator, the doors sliding shut with a whisper as she rode down to the garage, the hum of the city seeping in through the concrete walls. The rain had picked up when she stepped outside, a steady drizzle slicking the pavement under the sodium glow of streetlights, the air thick with the scent of wet asphalt and exhaust. She slid into the company's backup car, nondescript Toyota she kept for low-key runs like this, the vinyl seats creaking under her weight, the faint whiff of stale coffee and motor oil, a stark shift from the leather and rosewood interior of her usual ride. The engine sputtered to life, a rough growl that vibrated through the wheel, and she pulled out into Baymont's wet streets, wipers swiping lazily across the windshield as she headed home to pack. Her apartment was a short drive, sleek, modern, perched on the city's edge, but tonight it felt like a pit stop, a brief pause before the real fight. She tossed the jeans and shirt into a small duffel, grabbed a plain jacket to match, and stood by her own window, the city's glow blurring through the rain-streaked glass. The flight was booked for dawn, a short hop to Baymont Heights, a glitzy suburb on the city's western fringe, where Harris Luxe Motors' flagship showroom stood like a crown jewel. Lena landed at 10 a.m., the sky still gray and heavy as she picked up the rental sedan from a lot near the airport, a black SUV, simple, unremarkable, the kind of car that didn't turn heads. She drove through town, the drizzle clinging to the windshield, wipers cutting through it in slow, rhythmic sweeps as she wound past palm-lined streets and polished storefronts. Baymont Heights loomed ahead, its sleek glass facade catching the muted sunlight, a modern temple of chrome and leather, nestled in a strip of high-end boutiques and cafes, the kind of place where wealth hung thick in the air. She pulled into a side street a block away, parking under a drooping tree, its branches sagging with rain, far enough to stay off anyone's radar. She killed the engine, leaning back in the seat as she took it in, the Harris Luxe Motors sign glowing through the haze, shadows moving behind the glass, the faint hum of wealth spilling out into the damp morning. Her chest tightened, a tangle of pride and dread knotting up inside her. This was one of her brightest stars, a top earner, a showcase of everything she'd fought to build. But Marcus's letter had cracked that shine, and now she was here, not as the boss in a blazer and heels, but as someone who'd walked his path, a black customer with money to spend, testing a promise she'd staked her name on 15 years ago. She adjusted her bag, the strap digging into her shoulder, and stepped out into the damp air. The scent of rain and espresso mixing as her sneakers hit the wet pavement. She tugged her collar straight, took a slow, steadying breath, and started toward the showroom, her pulse quickening with every step. Whatever waited inside, truth, betrayal, or a fight she hadn't bargained for, she'd face it head-on. No turning back now. Lena Harris pushed through the heavy glass doors of Harris Luxe Motors' Baymont Heights showroom, the soft chime of the entry bell swallowed by the hum of wealth that pulsed inside. The air hit her fast, cool, climate-controlled, laced with the sharp scent of polished leather and a faint whiff of espresso drifting from a sleek cafe nook in the corner. The space gleamed under recessed lights, a cathedral of chrome and glass where luxury cars sat like sculptures, Harris phantoms, specters, and auroras, their curves catching the glow in flawless arcs. Outside, the Baymont rain tapped a steady rhythm against the windows, streaking the view of palm-lined streets. But in here, it was a curated world of perfection, every detail screaming prestige. Lena adjusted her crossbody bag, the strap digging into her shoulder, and took a slow breath, her sneakers silent on the polished marble floor. She was here as a customer, plain jeans, white button-down, no hint of the CEO who'd built this place. Just another face testing the promise of luxury for all. The showroom buzzed with quiet activity. A handful of customers drifted through too. Men in tailored suits eyeing a silver specter, a woman in a sundress sipping coffee by the cafe, a young guy in a hoodie snapping photos of an Aurora's grill. Sales staff glided between them, their navy blazers crisp, their smiles practiced. Voices low and polished as they pitched features like horsepower and custom interiors. Lena's eyes swept the room, sharp and deliberate, catching every move. This was her domain, her crown jewel, Baymont Heights, a top performer in the chain, and it looked the part. The shelves gleamed with branded accessories, the wall showcased framed awards, and a digital display touted the Phantom as the pinnacle of modern luxury. Pride flickered in her chest, a reflex from years of fighting for this. But Marcus Evans's letter, treated like I didn't belong, clawed at it, turning every shine into a question. She drifted toward a midnight blue Phantom parked near the center, its sleek lines drawing her in like a magnet. It was the car Marcus had wanted, the dream he'd walked in for, and she let her fingers hover over the hood, the cool metal tempting her touch. She'd designed this one herself, late nights sketching curves and tweaking specs, a symbol of everything she'd clawed her way to claim. Now she was here to see if that symbol held true, or if it was just a hollow shell for men like Marcus. Men like her dad, men who'd earned their shot but still got shut out. She straightened, stepping toward the reception desk, a low slab of black granite where a young woman in a blazer tapped at a tablet. "Hi," Lena said, her voice steady, casual. "I'd like to take a look at the Phantom, maybe get some details." The woman glanced up, her smile tight and fleeting, her eyes flicking over Lena's jeans and sneakers in a quick, subtle sweep. "Of course," she said, her tone clipped, professional but cool. "Let me check with our sales team. I'll have someone with you shortly." She stepped away, disappearing behind a partition, leaving Lena standing there, the faint hum of a showroom filling the silence. Lena's jaw tightened, a flicker of unease curling in her gut. It wasn't outright dismissal, not yet, but that glance, that pause, felt like the first thread of a pattern she'd come to unravel. She shifted her weight, glancing around, and caught a tall man approaching from across the floor, broad shoulders, navy suit, salt and pepper hair combed back with precision. His stride was confident, his jaw sharp, and even before he spoke, she knew who he was. Victor Grayson, showroom manager, the guy James had pegged as golden, with sails that kept Baymont Heights on top. "Ma'am," Victor greeted, his voice smooth as polished steel, his smile wide but not quite reaching his eyes. He stopped a few feet away, hands clasped behind his back, his gaze running over her in a long, deliberate once-over, not the kind that sized up a buyer's needs, but one that weighed whether she belonged here at all. "I hear you're interested in the Phantom?" Lena nodded, keeping her expression neutral, her pulse quickening under his stare. "That's right. I'd love to take a closer look, maybe hear about the options." Victor's smile held, but his eyes narrowed a fraction, a flicker of doubt. She'd seen too many times before. "It's a fine piece," he said, his tone light but edged with something she couldn't pin down. "Do you have an appointment?" "For certain models, we typically schedule private viewings. Keeps things exclusive, you understand." Lena raised a brow, her voice calm but firm. "Didn't know that was a rule. I figured I could just walk in, see what's available." Victor's smile twitched, a crack in the polish. "Well, it's not a hard rule," he said, gesturing vaguely toward the Phantom behind her, "but that particular one's reserved, spoken for by a client. We don't have it available for viewing right now." Lena tilted her head, glancing past him at the car sitting untouched under the lights. No reserved sign, no rope, just gleaming there like it was waiting. "That's funny," she said, her tone even, testing him. "Looks like it's right there. Nobody's with it." Victor's jaw tightened, just for a second, before he recovered, his smile sliding back into place. "It's in the system," he said smoothly, stepping slightly to block her view. "I'd be happy to show you something else, maybe an Aurora, more in line with what's available today." Her stomach twisted, a cold certainty settling in as his words echoed Marcus's letter. "Refused to let me see the Phantom, saying it was reserved." She could have pushed, could have pointed out the car again, called his bluff, but she held back, letting the moment hang, her eyes locked on his. Before she could respond, the glass doors swung open behind her, the chime cutting through the and a couple stepped in, an older white man in a polo and slacks, his wife in a flowy dress, diamonds glinting at her throat. Victor's head snapped toward them, his posture shifting like a switch flipped, and within seconds, he was moving. "Mr. and Mrs. Dawson, welcome back," he called, his voice warm, genuine now, his stride quick as he crossed to greet them. "So good to see you again here for that Phantom test drive?" Lena froze, her breath catching as Victor ushered the couple toward the very car he'd just told her was reserved, his hand gesturing grandly as he launched into a pitch about horsepower and custom leather. The man nodded, grinning, while his wife ran a hand over the hood, the same hood Lena had been denied. She watched, her pulse hammering, as a junior salesman rushed over with a tray of champagne flutes, the clink of glass sharp against the showroom's hum. Victor handed them each a drink, his laugh ringing out as he opened the driver's door for the man. "Go ahead, take a look inside, feel it out." Lena's hands clenched at her sides, the heat rising in her chest as Marcus's words roared. Back, a white customer strolled in, got the red carpet right in front of me. This wasn't a fluke. It was a slap, a deliberate divide laid bare in her own house. She stepped back, her sneakers scuffing the marble, and drifted toward a row of leather chairs along the showroom's edge, sinking into one as she forced her. Breathing steady. She wasn't here to blow her cover, not yet. She was here to see, to feel, to know how deep this ran. Her eyes tracked Victor as he worked the couple, his charm dialed up, every move a performance, pointing out features, cracking a joke, handing the wife a brochure with a flourish. The contrast burned minutes ago. He'd sized her up and shut her down. Now he was rolling out the welcome mat for them. She scanned the room, catching the pattern unfold. White customers, even casually dressed ones, got quick smiles, offers of coffee, guided tours. A black man in a sharp blazer walked in, lingered by an Aurora, and waited 5 minutes before a salesman approached. His tone flat, his arms crossed, steering him toward a lower-end model with a curt, "This might suit you better." Lena's nails dug into her palms, the ache in her chest sharpening into something fierce anger. Yes, but laced with a grief she hadn't expected. This wasn't just about Marcus anymore. It was bigger, a system woven into the fabric of her. Showroom, her name on the sign, but her vision nowhere in sight. She'd built this place to break those old rules, to make luxury a choice, not a birthright, but here it was. The same damn game she'd fought her whole life, playing out under her own roof. She leaned back, her gaze drifting, and caught a younger employee, a woman with auburn hair pulled into a sleek ponytail, her beige blazer crisp watching from the cafe counter. Her name tag read Tara, and her eyes flicked toward Lena. Then away, a flicker of something guilt maybe, crossing her face before she turned back to her tablet. Lena narrowed her eyes, clocking Tara's hesitation. She'd seen her earlier, hovering near Victor when he'd brushed Lena off, her posture stiff like she'd wanted to step in but didn't. Now, as Tara poured a coffee for another customer, her hands moved quick but shaky, her glance darting back to Lena for a split second before dropping again. There was something there, a crack, a thread Lena could pull if she played it right. She stayed put, letting the showroom hum around her, watching Tara from the corner of her eye while Victor schmoozed the Dawsons, their laughter grating against her nerves. An hour ticked by. Customers came and went, the divide sharpening with every interaction, and not once did anyone circle back to offer her help. Not a brochure, not a nod. She was invisible here, a ghost in her own empire, and that realization cut deeper than Victor's dismissal. Finally, as the lunch crowd thinned and the rain outside eased to a faint patter, Lena stood, her legs stiff from sitting, her mind racing. But clear. She'd seen enough Victor's smooth rejection, the Dawsons' red carpet, Tara's quiet unease, the patent Marcus had laid bare in his letter. This wasn't a bad day or a single screw-up. It was intentional, a system she'd let take root while she'd been too busy chasing the next wind to notice. She adjusted her bag, her fingers brushing the strap as she headed for the door, the chime sounding again as she stepped out into the damp air. The Baymont Heights sign glowed behind her, mocking her with its promise, but she didn't look back. She crossed to the SUV, parked a block away, the wet pavement slick under her sneakers, and slid inside. The silence heavy as she gripped the wheel. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. James, probably with flight confirmations, but she didn't answer yet. She needed a minute, just one, to let it settle, the sting of Victor's words, the weight of Marcus's shame, the fire it had lit inside her. She'd come looking for truth and found a fight she'd started 15 years ago and thought she'd won, only to see it slipping through her hands. Victor Grayson might think he ran this show, but he didn't know who he was dealing with. Lena exhaled, slow and steady, and started the engine, the rumble cutting through the quiet. She'd be back not as a customer, but as the woman who'd built this place, ready to tear down whatever stood in her way. Lena Harris sat in the driver's seat of her rented black SUV, parked 2 blocks from the Harris Luxe Motors Baymont Heights showroom, the engine off and the windows cracked just enough to let the damp Baymont air seep in. The rain had stopped, leaving the streets slick and reflective under the late afternoon sun, the palm trees casting long shadows that danced across the pavement. Her hands gripped the steering wheel, knuckles tight, as the sting of Victor Grayson's dismissal, its reserved, looped in her head, tangled with the Dawson's champagne clinks and Tara Nguyen's fleeting guilty glance. She'd walked into her own showroom expecting a crack. What she'd found was a chasm of exclusion wearing her name, mocking the luxury for all she'd fought 15 years to make real. Marcus Evans's letter burned in her mind. I left humiliated, And now it wasn't just his story. It was hers, too. A wound reopened under the showroom's polished lights. She exhaled, slow and sharp, forcing her hands to loosen, and pulled her phone from her bag, the screen flaring to life as she dialed James Carter. He picked up fast, his voice a steady anchor cutting through the chaos in her head. "Lena, how'd it go? You sound like you're about to punch something." She smirked, a flicker of dark humor breaking through the heat in her chest. "Close, James, real close. Victor Grayson's running a damn gatekeeping show out here. Told me the Phantom's reserved, wouldn't let me near it. Then turned around and handed it to a white couple like it was Christmas morning. Same car, same hour, no hesitation." A pause stretched on the line, heavy with the weight of it. Then James let out a low whistle. Son of a Marcus wasn't kidding, was he? "That's Baymont Heights, Victor's golden goose." "Golden goose with a rotten core," Lena snapped, her voice tight as she leaned back, the vinyl seat creaking under her. "It's not a fluke, James. I watched it play out all morning. White customers get the red carpet. Anyone black gets a shrug or a redirect to the cheap stuff. This isn't one bad apple. It's a system, and I'm not letting it stand." James's tone sharpened, shifting to business. "What's the play? You're not storming back in there, are you?" "Not yet," she said, her mind racing, piecing it together. "I need hard proof, not just my word. Video, witnesses, something the board can't dodge. Here's what I want. Send Michael Brooks, your buddy from the old days, down here tomorrow. Same deal I did, Jeans. No flash. Walks in asking. For the Phantom. You tail him. Record it from outside. Discreet. I need to see how they treat him." Michael Brooks was a white guy James had known since college, a laid-back contractor with a solid bank account and a knack for blending in. If Victor's crew rolled out the welcome mat for him, it'd be the nail in the coffin, undeniable evidence of the divide Lena had felt firsthand. James didn't hesitate. "Michael's in, I'll call him tonight. Set it up. I'll grab a spot across the street, shoot it through the glass. What else?" Lena's eyes flicked to the showroom in the distance, its sign glowing against the fading light. "There's a girl, Tara Nguyen, works the floor. She's got a conscience. I saw it in her. Slipped her my card before I left. Call me if you want to talk. If she bites, she might be our inside line. Keep your phone on aisle. Update you if she calls." "Done," James said, keys clicking in the background. "Flight's already set for me. Landing tomorrow noon." "You holding up?" Lena's smirk faded, her voice dropping low. "Barely. This one's personal." James cuts deep. "I know," he said, softer now. "We'll get him, Lena, clean and tight." The line clicked off, leaving her alone. With the hum of the city creeping in, she drove to a hotel a few miles out, a modest chain spot. Nothing flashy, the kind of place that didn't ask questions. The room was small, beige walls, and a stiff bed. The faint scent of bleach clinging to the air as she dropped her bag and sank onto the mattress. She pulled Marcus's letter from her pocket, unfolding it on the nightstand, his words staring up at her like a call she couldn't ignore. She'd felt it today, the same dismissal, the same cold shoulder, and it wasn't just anger driving her now. It was a bone-deep need to rip this thing out at the root. She showered quick, the hot water doing little to ease the tension in her shoulders, and changed into fresh jeans and a hoodie, her mind already on tomorrow. Sleep came in fits, broken by flashes of Victor's smirk and the Dawson's champagne glasses. But she was up by dawn, the gray light filtering through cheap curtains as she grabbed coffee from the lobby and headed out. James landed at noon, texting her from the airport. "Brooks is on board, meeting me here. We'll hit the showroom by 2. Lena spent the morning scoping the area, parking across from the showroom at a cafe with big windows, sipping black coffee that went cold as she watched the flow. Customers trickled in, mostly white, mostly wealthy-looking, greeted with smiles and quick service. A black woman in a sharp suit lingered by a specter, waiting 10 minutes before a salesman approached. His tone flat, his pitch half-hearted. Lena's jaw tightened, her fingers tapping the ceramic mug, every second feeding the fire she'd carried since yesterday. At 1:45, James pulled up in a rented sedan. Michael Brooks in the passenger seat, tall, sandy-haired, dressed in jeans and a polo, nothing screaming money but carrying himself with easy confidence. James caught her eye through the cafe window, nodding once, then set up across the street with a discreet camera tucked in his bag. Angled through the showroom glass, Michael stepped out, adjusting his collar, and pushed through the doors at 2 p.m. sharp. Lena watched, her pulse quickening as he crossed the marble floor to the reception desk, his voice too low to hear, but his gesture clear, pointing at the midnight blue Phantom parked center stage. The same woman from yesterday glanced up, her smile wider this time, warmer, and within seconds, Victor Grayson strode over, his navy suit crisp, his handshake firm as he greeted Michael like an old friend. "Welcome to Harris Luxe Motors," Victor said, his voice carrying just enough for Lena to catch it through the open cafe door across the street. "The Phantom, huh? Great choice. Let me give you the full rundown." He led Michael straight to the car, opening the driver's door with a flourish, launching into a pitch about engine specs and custom finishes, his grin wide and genuine. Lena's stomach churned, her coffee forgotten as Victor handed Michael a brochure, clapping him on the shoulder like they were buddies. A junior salesman materialized with a coffee mug, black, steaming, no tray of champagne this time, but the gesture was night and day from the cold shoulder she'd gotten. Michael played it perfect, nodding, asking questions, leaning into the finitude driver's seat to test the feel, while James's camera rolled from across the street, capturing every frame. Victor didn't hesitate, didn't pause, didn't say a word about reservations or private viewings. Just pure, eager service, the kind Lena had built this place to give everyone. 20 minutes later, Michael walked out, giving James a subtle thumbs up as he slid back into the sedan, and they peeled off, leaving Lena staring at the showroom's glow, her hands clenched under the table. Back at the hotel, James met her in the lobby, his laptop open on a corner table as he transferred the footage. "Got it clean," he said, spinning the screen toward her. Crystal clear. Victor's all over him. No excuses. No reserved bullshit. Side by side with what you saw, it's a slam dunk. Lena watched the clip, her chest tight as Victor's voice rang out. "Take your time. Let me know if you want a test drive." The contrast to her own rejection, stark, undeniable. "Good," she said, her voice low, hard. "This is step one, shows the pattern. But I need more, something from inside, something they can't spin." James nodded, closing the laptop. "Tara call yet?" "Not yet," Lena said, glancing at her phone, the screen dark. "But she will. She's got a crack in her I can work with." The call came that night, just past 9 p.m., as Lena paced her room, the TV muted on some local news channel. The number was unfamiliar, but she knew before she answered. "Hello?" she said, keeping her tone even. A shaky breath crackled through the line, then a voice soft, nervous, but firm. "This is Tara from the showroom. You gave me your card." Lena stopped pacing, her pulse kicking up. "Tara, glad you called. What's on your mind?" A pause, then Tara's words tumbled out, quiet but raw. "I saw how Victor treated you yesterday, how he brushed you off, then turned around for that couple. It's not right. It's never been right, and I'm tired of pretending it is." Lena sat on the bed, leaning forward, her voice gentle but pressing. "Tell me what you mean, Tara. What's never been right?" Tara exhaled, her voice dropping lower, like she was checking over her shoulder. Victor, he's got rules, unwritten ones. He calls it profiling, figuring out who's serious in the first minute. But it's not just money, it's race, looks, how you carry yourself. If you're black, Latino, anything that doesn't fit his image, he tells us. To redirect you, push the cheaper models, say the high-end stuff's reserved. I've seen it 100 times yesterday with you. Last week with a guy who looked like he could buy the place outright. He's got us trained, and if we don't play along, he cuts our hours, chews us out in front of everyone. Lena's grip tightened on the phone, her anger flaring hot and fast. Trained by Victor? He's telling you to do this? Yeah, Tara said, her voice breaking a little. Not in writing, nothing you'd find in a manual, but he drills it into us. Don't waste time on the wrong ones, he says. I tried pushing back, once helped a black couple who wanted a Phantom, spent an hour with them. Victor pulled me aside after, said I'd cost us a real sale. Docked my shift the next day. I've got rent. Bills, I couldn't fight it. But yesterday, watching you, I can't keep swallowing this. Lena's mind raced. Tara's words slotting into place Marcus's rejection. Her own. The pattern Michael's video had caught. Tara, she said, slow and steady, I need you to help me stop this. Can you get me something, emails, notes, anything showing Victor's rules? A long silence stretched, Tara's breathing uneven. Then she whispered, They're stuff emails. He sent vague but clear if you know what to look for. Focus on priority clients. Streamline the floor. Code for who to ignore. I can pull them, send them to you, but if he finds out, he won't. Lena cut in, firm but warm. I'll keep you safe. Tara, I promise. You're not in this alone. Another pause. Then Tara's voice steadied. Okay, I'll do it. Give me a day. I'll get what I can. Thank you, Lena said, her chest loosening just a fraction. Send it to this number. I'll handle the rest. Asterisk. The next day dragged. Lena holed up in the hotel. James working the footage into a tight edit, her rejection beside Michael's welcome. A side-by-side no one could deny. Tara's text came late, just past midnight. A burner email link with a zip file, half a dozen emails from Victor to the staff. Buried in corporate jargon, but laced with tells. Prioritize established profiles. Avoid over-engaging non-targets. Reserve premium models for confirmed interest. One stood out, dated a month back. Keep the floor efficient. Don't clog it with tire kickers. Lena's jaw clenched as she read. The subtext screaming what Tara had confirmed Victor's system. Deliberate and cold, built to filter out anyone who didn't fit his mold. She forwarded it all to James, pacing as he called back. This is gold, Lena video, plus this? They can't dodge it. What's next? Next, she said, her voice hard as steel. We take it to the board show on what's festering under their noses. But first, I'm going back one more look. Make sure we've got it locked. She hung up, staring out at Baymont's lights, the showdown looming closer. Victor thought he ran this game, but she was rewriting the rules and he'd never see her coming. Lena Harris stood in her hotel room, the faint hum of Baymont's nightlife seeping through the thin walls as she stared at her laptop screen, the evidence laid out like a loaded gun. James Carter's video played on a loop, her rejection by Victor Grayson at the Baymont Heights showroom, clipped and cold, followed by Michael Brooks's warm welcome. Victor's grin wide as he handed over the keys to the same Phantom she'd been denied. Beside it, Tara Nguyen's emails glowed in stark black and white. Victor's coded orders to prioritize established profiles, avoid over-engaging non-targets, and keep the floor efficient. Each word was a dagger, proof of a system that spat on the luxury for all she built Harris Luxe Motors to embody. Marcus Evans's letter sat unfolded on the bed beside her, its creases worn from her grip. I left humiliated. Quiet fire that had grown into a blaze she couldn't douse. She snapped the laptop shut. The click sharpened the stillness and grabbed her phone, dialing James as she paced the beige carpet, her sneakers scuffing the pile. He picked up fast, his voice steady through the crackle of the line. "Lena, everything's set." "Yeah," she said, her tone hard, clipped. "Video's tight. Tara's emails are gold undeniable. I'm tacking it to the board tomorrow emailing it tonight with a meeting demand. 10 sharp. They're not dodging this." James let out a low whistle, his chair creaking as he shifted. "Big swing Victor's got friends up there, you know that. Edward Pierce especially. He's been ridding Grayson's numbers for years." Lena's jaw tightened, her mind flashing. To Pierce, gray-haired, sharp-eyed, a board veteran who'd backed her early on but grown cozy with the status quo. "Let him try," she said, stopping by the window, the city's glow blurring through rain-streaked glass. "This isn't a debate, it's a reckoning. Pierce can squirm all he wants. Facts don't bend." "Fair," James said, his tone shifting to logistics. "I'll clean the footage one more time, send you a final cut by dawn. Tara holding up?" Lena glanced at her phone. Tara's last text sent everything I could nervous but still glowing on the screen. "She's scared," Lena admitted, her voice softening. "Victor's got her on edge, threatened her job if he sniffs her out. I told her I'd cover, whatever it takes." "Good," James said. "She's key, those emails tie it all together." "You crashing soon?" Lena smirked, a flicker of exhaustion tugging at her. "Soon as I draft this email gonna hit. I'm hard, no fluff." "Hit him clean," James said, a grin in his voice. "Night. Lena, see you on the flip." The line clicked off, and she sank onto the bed, pulling the laptop back into her lap, her fingers flying as she typed. The email was short, brutal, addressed to the full board, 15 names, including Edward Pierce and CC'd to James for backup. Subject: urgent meeting, systemic issues at Baymont Heights Showroom. 10 a.m. tomorrow, HQ conference room. Attached is evidence of discriminatory practices under Victor Grayson's management video and internal emails, proving a pattern of racial bias against customers. This violates everything Harris Luxe Motors stands for. I expect a full discussion and immediate action. No exceptions. Lena Harris, CEO. She attached the files James's video. Tara zip and hit send, the whoosh cutting through the quiet like a gunshot. She leaned back, her breath steadying, the weight of it settling in. There was no turning back now. Morning. Broke gray and heavy, the Baymont sky thick with clouds as Lena drove her rental SUV to headquarters, the glass tower rising sharp against the horizon. She'd swapped jeans for a tailored blazer and slacks, black, crisp, no nonsense, her hair pulled back tight, her face set like stone. The boardroom waited on the top floor, a sleek space of polished wood and floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawling below like a map she'd conquered. She stepped off the elevator at 9:55, James meeting her in the hall, his laptop bag slung over his shoulder, his nod quick and firm. "Footage is locked ready when you are," he said, falling in step as they crossed to the double doors. "Tara check in?" Lena shook her head, her stomach tightening. "Not since last night, hope she's just laying low." The room was full when they entered, 15 board members seated around a long table, their faces a mix of curiosity and unease, coffee cups steaming in the tense air. Edward Pierce sat near the head, his gray suit immaculate, his sharp eyes tracking Lena as she took her spot at the front. Victor Grayson was there too, summoned last minute, his navy blazer crisp and his jaw tight, a flicker of suspicion in his gaze as he leaned back in his chair. Lena didn't flinch, her voice cutting through the murmurs as she started, steady and cold. "Thanks for coming on short notice. We've got a problem, a big one, and it's not up for debate. Baymont Heights, under Victor Grayson's watch, is running a system that locks out customers based on race. I've got proof video, emails, all of it, and it's time we face it." She nodded to James, who fired up the projector, the screen flaring to life as the video rolled her walking into the showroom, jeans and sneakers, asking for the Phantom. Victor's smooth, it's reserved, his dismissive wave. Then Michael. Brooks, same day, same car, getting the full tour. Victor's grin wide as he handed over a brochure. The room went still, breaths held, as the clips played side by side. The contrast stock Lena shut down. Michael welcomed, no hesitation. She let it sink in, then opened Tara's emails, projecting one up. Prioritize established profiles. Keep the floor efficient. Don't clog it with tire kickers. This, she said, her voice rising, is Victor's code. Tire kickers means anyone who doesn't fit his mold. Anyone black, Latino, anyone he decides isn't serious. This isn't a mistake. It's deliberate, and it's been going on under our noses. A murmur rippled through the room, faces shifting, some shocked, some uneasy, a few glancing at Victor. Edward Pierce cleared his throat, his voice calm but edged, cutting through the buzz. "Lena, this is serious. I'll give you that, but let's not overreact. Luxury retail's always had a filter. It's how the game works. Victor's numbers are top-tier. Baymont Heights is a cash cow. You sure this isn't just a few bad calls blown out of proportion?" Lena's eyes locked on his, her tone steel. "A few bad calls?" "Edward, I walked in there myself, asked for the Phantom, got told it's reserved. Same hour, a white guy gets the keys handed to him, no questions. That's not a bad call. That's a system, and it's got Victor's fingerprints all over it. Luxury for all isn't a filter, it's a promise, and we're breaking it." Victor shifted, his voice smooth as he leaned forward, hands clasped. "Ms. Harris, with respect, this is a misunderstanding. We prioritize based on client history, interest, standard practice. I don't control who walks in or what they wear. If someone felt slighted, I'm sorry. But it's not a system, it's business." Lena's laugh was sharp, cutting. "Business? Victor, you trained your crew to profile. Don't waste time on the wrong ones. That's what they're saying. I've got emails proving it. Your words, your rules. Don't sit there and play innocent." The room tensed, Victor's smile faltering as Pierce jumped back in, his tone firmer. "Lena, luxury's exclusive by nature. Customers expect that. If we start micromanaging every interaction, we risk the brand's edge. Victor's kept us ahead. Let's not throw that out over a couple complaints." "Couple complaints?" Lena snapped, her voice rising as she tapped the table. "This isn't exclusive. It's discrimination, and it's killing what we stand for. I've got a customer, Marcus Evans, who walked out humiliated, and I felt it myself. You want to talk numbers? How's a PR nightmare gonna hit? You stock, Edward? Because if this gets out, and it will if we don't act, we're done." The room split, some nodding, others shifting uncomfortably, Pierce's frown deepening as he leaned back, arms crossed. A younger board member, Clara Danvers from PR, spoke up, her voice cautious. "If this leaks, Lena's right. It's a disaster. Social media is already twitchy about bias. This could tank us." Pierce waved her off, his tone dismissive. "It's containable. Victor can tighten up. We'll smooth it over. No need to burn the house down." Lena shook her head, her voice dropping low, final. "Not good enough. I'm not a skin, I'm telling you. We fire Victor, we overhaul Baymont Heights, or I take this public video, emails, all of it. Your call." The room froze, Victor's face paling as Pierce's eyes narrowed, a silent war brewing across the table. After a beat, Pierce sighed, his voice measured. "We'll discuss it, vote tomorrow. Give us time to weigh this, Lena." She nodded once, sharp. "Tomorrow, 9 don't drag it out." She gathered her notes, James shutting down the projector as they walked out, the door clicking shut behind them. the tension lingering like smoke. Back at the hotel, Lena's phone buzzed as she paced James, his voice tight. Trouble checked the news. She grabbed her laptop, pulling up a fringe business blog, and her stomach dropped. Harris Luxe Motors CEO sparks internal chaos power grab or PR stunt. The piece was anonymous. Vicious claiming Lena was exploiting a minor showroom issue to consolidate control, painting her as a loose cannon shaking investor confidence. Another hit followed, a bigger outlet. Leadership turmoil. At Harris Luxe, is Lena Harris overreaching? She cursed under her breath, dialing James back. Victor's planned dirty smear campaign, fast and ugly. Pierce is probably in on it buying time to sway the board. James's voice hardened. Bastard stock's already twitching. Down 2 points. Investors are calling me spooked. What's the counter? Hold him off, Lena said, her mind racing. Tell him it's noise. We've got the truth locked down. I'll handle the board tomorrow. Victor's not slipping out of this. She hung up, sinking onto the bed, the weight of it pressing in Victor's counterattack. Pierce's resistance. The board's waffling. Her phone buzzed again. Tara. Her. Tech shaky. Victor pulled me and asked if I've talked to anyone. Said he's watching us all. Scared he knows. Lena's chest tightened, her fingers flying as she typed back. Stay calm. Deny everything. I've got you, Tara. Won't let him touch you. Tara's reply was a single word. Okay, but the fear bled through. That night, Victor sat in his office at Baymont Heights, the showroom dark beyond the glass walls, his phone pressed to his ear as he barked orders. Ramp it up more leaks. Hit her harder. Make it look like she's tanking. The company investors hate chaos. The voice on the other end, low confident, replied, already rolling. Next piece drops at dawn. Pierce says the board split. We've got a shot. Victor smirked, leaned back, his fingers drumming the desk. Good, Lena thinks. She's got me cornered. She's got no idea what's coming. He hung up, staring out at the showroom floor, the phantom silhouette glinting under the security lights. He built this place into a goldmine. Numbers didn't lie, and he wasn't about to let some bleeding heart crusade tear it down. Meanwhile, Tara sat in her car in the employee lot, the engine off, her hands trembling as she clutched her phone. Victor's interrogation replayed in her head. Have you talked to anyone? His eyes boring into her, searching for a crack. She denied it, kept her voice steady, but the threat hung heavy. If I find out someone's running their mouth, they're done. She'd seen the news. Lena's name dragged through the mud, and knew Victor was behind it. A desperate swing to save himself. Her text to Lena had been a lifeline, and Lena's reply, I've got you, was the only thing keeping her from bolting. She took a shaky breath, starting the car, the headlights cutting through the dark. She was in deep now, too late to back out. Asterisk, Lena stood by her hotel window, the city lights blurring into streaks as she replayed the day, the boards waffling, Victor's smug deflection, Pierce's pushback. The smear campaign stung articles, twisting her fight into a power grab, but it wasn't the lies that kept her up. It was Tara's fear, the board's hesitation, the risk of losing this before it broke wide. She'd come with proof video, emails, her own damn eyes, and still they balked, clinging to the old game. Her phone buzzed. James again, his voice grim. Another hit just dropped. CEO chaos threatens Harris Luxe future. Stock's down 4 points now. Board's got a vote tomorrow. They can't ignore this much longer. They won't, Lena said, her voice steel. I've got one more card. Victor's not the only one who can play hard. Get Clara Monroe on the line. Tell her I've got a story, exclusive if she moves fast. Clara was a journalist. Lena trusted, sharp, fearless, with a nose for corruption. James paused, then grinned through the line. Going big, love it. I'll call her now. Expect her by morning. Good, Lena said, turning from the Window, her reflection sharp in the glass. Victor wants a fight. He's got one. Tomorrow, we end this. Lena Harris stood in her hotel room, the Baymont dawn breaking gray and heavy beyond the window, the city's lights fading into a muted haze as the first streaks of sunlight cut through the clouds. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. James. Carter, his voice sharp through the line. Clara Monroe's in London at 8 a.m. Wants the full story by 9. Victor's latest hit just dropped. Harris Luxe CEO risks collapse over personal vendetta. Stocks down 6 points. Investors are freaking out. Lena's jaw clenched, her fingers tightening around the coffee mug in her hand. The brew gone cold as she paced the beige carpet. Victor Grayson's smear campaign had hit hard. Overnight anonymous blogs and bigger outlets spinning her fight into a power grab. A desperate CEO tanking her own company. She'd expected the pushback, but the speed, the venom, still stung. A barrage meant to bury her before the board's vote at 9 on vendetta. She muttered, setting the mug down with a thud. He's got no idea what's coming. Clara's. My ace Victor's dirt's about to hit the fan, public and loud. James's grin crackled through the line. Love it gonna be a bloodbath. I'll meet her at the airport. Bring her straight to you. Tara, check in? Lena glanced at her phone. Tara Nguyen's last text. Victor's watching me scared he knows. Still glowing unanswered. Matson's last night, she said, her stomach tightening. She's holding the line, but he's got her. Spooked. I'm calling her now. Keep her steady. Good, James said. Lord's jittery. This could tip him either way. See you at 9. The line clicked off, and Lena dialed Tara, her pulse quickening as it rang once, twice, then a shaky voice answered. Lena? Tara, thank God, Lena said, her tone firm but warm. You okay? Tara's breath hitched. The sound ragged through the speaker. Not really. Victor pulled me in again last night, after those articles. Asked who I've been talking to. Said he's got eyes everywhere. I denied it, but he's not buying it, kept me late. Watching me like a hawk. Lena's chest tightened, anger flaring hot. He's bluffing, trying to scare you into cracking. You're safe. Tara, I've got your back. You still in? A pause stretched. Then Tara's voice steadied, a flicker of resolve cutting through the fear. Yeah, I'm in. Those emails I sent, they're real, and I'm done hiding from this. Lena exhaled, relief loosening her shoulders. Good, hold tight. It's breaking wide today, stay low till it hits. Tara's okay, was soft but firm, and the call ended, leaving Lena staring out at Baymont, the showdown looming like a storm. Asterisk Clara Monroe arrived at 8:45 am, stepping into the hotel lobby with James at her side, tall, wiry, her dark hair pulled back, her sharp eyes scanning the room like a predator on the hunt. She carried a leather satchel, a recorder clipped to its strap, and shook Lena's hand with a grip that meant business. Lena Harris, Clara said, her voice low, clipped. I heard you've got a bomb to drop. Let's see it. Lena led them to her room, the laptop open on the bed, James's video and Tara's emails queued up. Clara watched the footage first, Lena's. Rejection, Michael's welcome, her pen scratching notes fast, her brow furrowing as Victor's grin filled the screen. Then the emails, Victor's coded orders. Prioritize established profiles. Don't clog it with tire kickers. And Clara's lips curved into a tight, knowing smile. This is gold, she said, looking up. Systemic bias, straight from the top names. Dates, proof. You've got a whistleblower? Tara Nguyen, Lena said, her voice steady. Showroom staff sent me those emails, saw it all firsthand. She's scared but solid. Victor's leaning on her hard. Clara nodded, her pen tapping the pad. If she'll go public name on the record, it's airtight. I can run this today, front page, but I need her voice. Lena's stomach. twisted, Tara's fear echoing in her mind, but she nodded. I'll get her there. Give me till noon. You start writing. Hit him fast, before the board votes. Claire's smile widened, sharp. Deal piece will be live by 2 p.m., trending by 3. Victor Grayson's done. She packed up, heading out with James to draft from a cafe, leaving Lena alone, the clock ticking toward 9 a.m. She drove to headquarters, the glass tower cutting the sky as she pulled into the garage. Her blazer crisp, her face set like stone. The boardroom was packed when she walked in. 15 members around the long table, coffee cups untouched, the air thick with tension. Edward Pierce sat near the head, his gray suit stiff, his eyes cold as they tracked her. Victor Grayson was there too, his navy blazer pressed, his smirk faint but defiant, like he still held the upper hand. Lena took her spot at the front. James. Beside her with the laptop, the projector humming as she started, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade. Yesterday, I showed you proof Victor's running a showroom that locks out customers based on race. Video, emails, my own eyes. You've had your night to weigh it. Time's up, vote now, or I take this public by lunch. Pierce leaned forward, his tone smooth, placating. Lena, let's not rush this. Victor's explained its standard practice, prioritizing high-value clients. The articles out there, your chaos, are hurting us more than his methods. Stocks down 6 points. Investors want stability, not a purge. Victor nodded, his voice slick. Exactly. I've kept Baymont Heights top tier. A few misunderstandings don't justify this. Lena's blowing it up to flex control. Lena's laugh was sharp, her eyes flashing as she tapped the table. Misunderstandings? Victor, you trained your crew to profile tire kickers ain't a buzzword. It's a blacklist. I walked in, got shut down. A white guy got the keys, no client history, just skin. That's your standard practice? Bullshit. The room tensed, murmurs rippling as Pierce's frown deepened. Luxury's exclusive. Lena, it's how we thrive. Victor's numbers prove it. You're risking that edge over what pride? Pride? Lena snapped, her voice rising, raw. This isn't pride, it's integrity. Marcus Evans walked out humiliated. I felt it myself. Luxury for all isn't a filter, it's a promise, and Victor's breaking it under our name. You want to talk numbers? How's a boycott sound when this hits the streets? Clara Danvers, the PR rep, shifted, her voice tight. She's right, social media's a powder keg. If this leaks, we're toast stock'll crash harder. Then 6 points. Pierce waved her off, his tone firm. It's containable, Victor adjusts, we weather it. No need for blood. Lena's eyes narrowed, her voice dropping low, lethal. Containable? I've got a journalist waiting, Clara Monroe. Top tier. She's got the video, the emails, everything. Vote to fire Victor now, or she runs it by 2 p.m., and you're all on the hook. You call. The room froze, Victor's smirk vanishing as Pierce's face paled, his fingers curling against the table. A younger board member, Tom Ellis, spoke. Hesitant. If it's going public either way, we're better off acting. Cut the rod. Control the story. Pierce shot him a glare, but the split was clear. Half the room nodded. The other half squirmed. After a beat, Pierce sighed, his voice grudging. Fine, vote now. Majority rules. The ballots were quick slips passed, collected, counted. In silence, Pierce stood, his glasses glinting as he read, his tone flat. 9 for termination, 6 against. Victor Grayson, you're out effective immediately. Victor's face twisted, disbelief flashing as he stood, his chair scraping loud. You're kidding? This is my showroom, my numbers. You're tanking it over her? Pierce didn't flinch. It's done. Security's outside. 2 guards stepped in, firm but quiet, and Victor stormed out, his glare burning into Lena as he passed. the door slamming shut behind him. She didn't watch him go, her focus locked on Pierce, the air still crackling. Back at the hotel, Lena barely had time to breathe before Tara's call came, her voice shaking but resolute. "Lena, it's out. Victor's gone?" "Yeah," Lena said, sinking onto the bed, exhaustion tugging at her. Board voted 9-6. "You're clear." "Now," Tara exhaled, relief bleeding through. "Good, because I just sent Clara my story, full name, everything. Couldn't hide anymore." Lena's breath caught, pride swelling as she sat up. "Tara, you sure?" "Yeah," Tara said, her voice steadying. "He threatened me, scared me, and I'm done letting him win. Clara's got it all emails, my words. It's real now." By 2 p.m., Clara's piece hit. Harris Luxe Motors whistleblower exposes racial bias. Emails confirm showroom discrimination. Front page of a major outlet. Trending within an hour. Tara's name blazed beside Victor's orders. Don't waste time on the wrong ones. And the video links spread like wildfire. Hashtags, #justice for Harris, and #Harris LUXE bias exploding on Twitter. Lena watched from her room, the TV flashing news alerts, CNN picking it up. Luxury car giant faces reckoning, as James texted. Its viral stocks wobbling, the public's with us. Customers flooded social media with their own stories. Black buyers ignored, redirected, humiliated, piling pressure on Harris Luxe Motors like a tidal wave. Lena grabbed her blazer, heading to a press conference she'd called at HQ 3 p.m. No delay. The lobby buzzed when she arrived, reporters cramming the space. Cameras flashing as she stepped to a podium, the Harris Luxe logo stark behind her. She took a breath, her voice steady, commanding as she started. "Good afternoon, I'm Lena Harris, CEO of Harris Luxe Motors. Today, we're facing the truth. Our Baymont showroom under Victor Grayson ran a system that locked out customers based on race. I saw it myself, walked in, got turned away. Watched a white guy get the keys. Tara Nguyen, one of our own, blew the whistle emails, proof her courage. Victor's gone fired this morning. But that's not enough." The room erupted shouts, questions, but she raised a hand, silencing them. "This isn't just one showroom, it's a wake-up call. Luxury for all isn't a slogan. It's who we are. We're cleaning house, new policies, new training, no tolerance for this anywhere in our chain. And I'm calling out the industry. This stops now, or we all pay the price." She stepped back, cameras flashing wild as reporters yelled, "Is this company-wide? What's next for Harris Luxe?" But she walked off, James at her side, the roar fading behind her. Victor sat in his penthouse that night, the TV blaring Clara's story, his name plastered across every screen. Disgraced. Manager ousted amid scandal. His phone was silent, no calls, no allies. His whiskey glass shaking in his hand as he scrolled X, the hashtags burying him alive. He'd swung hard with the smear campaign. Thought he'd outmaneuvered her, but Lena had hit back harder, and Tara quiet, scared Tara had sealed his fate. He slammed the glass down, the crack loud in the empty room. His empire gone in a day. Lena stood by her hotel window, the city glowing below, her phone buzzing with James's update. Stocks stabilizing. Public split but loud. We've got momentum. Tara texted too. "It's out, I'm free. Thank you." Lena smiled, small but real, the weight lifting just enough. Victor was down, the board forced to act, but this wasn't the end. It was a spark, a fight she'd carry forward, bigger than Baymont Heights, bigger than Harris Luxe. She'd won this round, but the war was just beginning. Lena Harris stood outside the Baymont Heights showroom of Harris Luxe Motors, the late afternoon sun dipping low over the palm-lined streets, casting a warm glow across the sleek glass facade. The air carried a crisp edge, the rain of the past. Week replaced by a dry breeze that rustled the leaves and swept away the last traces of the storm, both literal and figurative, that had rocked her world. It was 3 weeks since Victor Grayson's ousting, since Tara Nguyen's whistleblowing had blown the lid off the showroom's bias, since Lena's press conference had set the internet ablaze with #justice for Harris. The sign above still gleamed, but the vibe felt different, lighter, like a weight had lifted, though the scars of the fight lingered in her bones. She adjusted her blazer black, sharp, no jeans today, and pushed through the doors, the familiar chime ringing soft as she stepped inside. The showroom hummed with a new energy. The scent of polished leather and espresso still hung in the air, but the tension that had choked it before was gone, replaced by a buzz of purpose. Customers moved through the aisles, some white, some black, a Latino couple eyeing a silver Spectre greeted by staff in crisp navy blazers, their smiles genuine, their pitches warm. A black man in a denim jacket stood by the midnight blue. Phantom, the car, Lena and Marcus Evans, had been denied nodding as a salesman walked him through the features. No hesitation, no redirect. Lena's chest loosened, a flicker of pride cutting through the exhaustion that had dogged her since the boardroom vote. This was what she built Harris Luxe Motors for, not just luxury, but access, a place where money spoke louder than skin. She'd spent the last 3 weeks in overdrive, flying between Baymont and HQ, hammering out reforms with James Carter and a team she'd handpicked people who got it, who'd felt the sting of exclusion themselves. The board had balked at first, Edward Pierce grumbling about overreach. But the public firestorm, Clara Monroe's viral expose, Tara's raw testimony, the flood of customer stories had left them no choice. Stock had dipped hard after. The scandal broke, down 10% in a day, but it was climbing back now, steady at 4% below pre-crisis levels, buoyed by headlines like Harris Luxe Motors sets new standard. After bias scandal and a wave of support on ex-Lena had seized the momentum, rolling out changes, fast mandatory training on bias for every employee, a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination, a new oversight team to field complaints, and a hotline plastered across every showroom. Not treated right? Tell us straight to the top. She caught sight of Tara Nguyen near the cafe counter, her auburn hair pulled back, her beige blazer swapped for a navy one with a new tag. Training supervisor. Tara spotted her, breaking into a grin as she crossed over, a stack of binders. In her arms, training manuals Lena had approved last week. "Hey, Lena didn't expect you today," Tara said, her voice brighter, the fear that had shadowed it gone. "Thought you'd be at HQ, basking in the glow." Lena smirked, leaning against a display of branded keychains. "Glow's overrated. I'm here to see it work. How's the crew holding up?" Tara's grin widened, pride flickering in her eyes. "Good, really good. First training session's done, 2 days, full staff. We drilled them on what you wanted. Every customer gets the same shot. No profiling, no excuses." A few old-timers griped. "Too much fuss, but they're coming around." Lena nodded, her gaze drifting to a salesman helping a Latina woman test a Spectre's trunk space, his tone patient, engaged. "And the new guy?" she asked, meaning David Holloway, the showroom's new manager, a vet she'd vetted herself. A black man with a track record of fairness from a rival chain. Tara's eyes lit up. "David's a rock started Monday, already shifted the vibe. No priority clients, nonsense, just straight service. Customers are noticing. Had a guy yesterday say, 'Feels like they actually want me here now.'" Lena's smirk softened into a real smile, the knot in her gut easing further. "That's the point. Keep it rolling, Tara. You're killing it." Asterisk, Tara blushed, shifting the binders. "Thanks, I mean it. Never thought I'd be here, running this stuff. After Victor." Her voice trailed, a shadow crossing her face, but she shook it off. "Feels right now, like I'm part of something real. Lena clapped her shoulder, her grip firm. You are more than you know. Those emails going public? That took guts, changed everything. Tara nodded, her posture straightening, and headed back to the counter, leaving Lena to drift through the floor, her eyes tracking every move like a hawk. The reforms weren't just talk, she'd made sure of that. Training wasn't some checkbox. It was hands-on, led by Tara and a consultant Lena had poached from a diversity firm role plays. Real scenarios, no fluff. A zero-tolerance policy. Had teeth. 2 salesmen from other showrooms caught dodging black customers last week. Fired on the spot, their names off the roster by nightfall. The oversight team, 5 sharp minds, including a former civil rights lawyer, had fielded 30. Complaints already, half legit, all tracked and fixed fast. Lena had pushed a Harris Day, 2 free coffee, discounts, extras for locals last Saturday, packing the showroom with a mix of faces. Tara and David handing out toolkits to a single dad and a muffin to a kid in a patch coat. Sales dipped that day, but spiked after. Word of mouth spreading. Harris Luxe is different now real. The ripple went beyond Baymont Heights. Clara's piece had lit a few other luxury brands squirming under the spotlight. CEOs issuing statements about internal reviews as customers shared their own tales of bias on X. A Bentley dealer in LA got hit with a viral thread. Ignored me for an hour. Served a white guy in 10 minutes, forcing a public apology. A Porsche exec called Lena direct, voice tight. You stirred the pot, our board scrambling to match you. She'd laughed, sharp. Good catch up or get left. The industry was shifting, slow but real, and Harris Luxe Motors was the spark, sales ticking up, reviews glowing. Finally a brand that means it. Victor Grayson was a ghost now. Lena had heard through James he'd holed up in his penthouse after the firing. Tried calling old contacts, pitching himself as a misunderstood leader. No one bit his name was poison. Blacklisted across luxury retail. His smug. It's just business. Drowned by the headlines. Disgraced manager's fall shakes Harris Luxe. A former staffer leaked he trashed his office on the way out. Desk overturned, whiskey bottle smashed petty. Broken? A man who'd thought he was untouchable until Lena and Tara proved he wasn't. She found David Holloway near the Phantom. Clipboard in hand, his dark suit crisp as he coached a young salesman, early 20s. Nervous but eager on greeting a black couple browsing in Aurora. Ask what they're looking for. Don't assume, David said, his voice steady, warm. Every question's a chance make him feel seen. The kid nodded, stepping up with a shy, Hey, what brought you in today? And the couple smiled, engaging, the vibe easy. David caught Lena's eye, crossing over with a nod. Ms. Harris, didn't know you were dropping by. Keeping you on your toes, she said, her tone light but her gaze sharp. How's it feeling? Solid, David said, glancing around. Crews buying and training sticking, customers are staying longer. Had a guy yesterday, black, mid-40s, said he'd never come back after Victor's time. Took a Phantom home this morning, grinning ear to ear. Lena's chest swelled, a quiet victory settling in. That's what I want. Every damn time. You're running this right. Don't let it slip. David's grin was small but real. Won't got too much written on it myself. He headed back, leaving Lena by the Phantom, her fingers. Brushing the hood, the car that sparked this war. Now a symbol of something better. Her phone buzzed James, his voice crackling with energy. Stock's up 2 points today. New reviews hitting online. Best service I've had. Feels like a fresh start. You seeing this at the showroom? Yeah, Lena said, watching Tara coach a cashier near the cafe, her binder. Open, her voice steady. It's real here, breathin' again. Industry catching it yet? Oh, they're feeling it, James said, a laugh in his tone. Mercedes just announced bias audits copying your playbook. You've got 'em shook. Good. Lena said, her smirk returning. Let them scramble keeps. Yes, ahead. That night, Lena sat in her hotel room, the city lights glowing beyond the window as she scrolled X threads praising Harris Luxe. A few diehards griping about woke nonsense, but the tide was hers. Tara texted, "First week as supervisor done feels good." "Thanks for this." Lena typed back, "You earned it, keep pushing." She leaned back, the quiet settling in, her mind drifting to Marcus Evans. She'd called him last week, voice steady as she'd said, "It's Lena Harris. Your letter started this. Showroom's clean, now come see." He'd laughed, soft but real. Might just do that, and she'd hung up. A loose end tied. The fight wasn't over. Some board members like Pierce still grumbled. Other showrooms needed work, but Baymont Heights was proof it could change, a blueprint she'd take wide. The industry was watching, shifting, and Lena Harris was the name driving it, not just a CEO, but a force they couldn't ignore. She stood, stretching, the city's glow. A promise she'd keep chasing, one showroom, one fight at a time. Lena Harris stood by the window of her office at Harris Luxe Motors Baymont headquarters, the city's skyline stretching out beneath a crisp October dusk, the lights twinkling like stars she'd once reached for in a garage 15 years ago. 6 months had passed since Victor Grayson's fall, since Tara Nujian's courage had cracked the showroom wide open, since Lena's voice at that press conference had turned a scandal into a spark. The air outside carried a faint chill, the palm trees swaying gently beyond the glass. But inside, the room was warm, the hum of a quiet evening settling over the tower. She leaned against the frame, her blazer shed on the chair behind her, sleeves rolled up as she traced the glow of Baymont Heights in the distance, the showroom that had started it all. Now a beacon of something she'd fought her whole life to build. Her desk was a clutter of progress reports, showing sales up 8% across the chain, a stack of training manuals Tara had finalized, a framed article from Clara Monroe, Harris Luxe Motors redefines luxury with equity overhaul. The Baymont Heights showroom gleamed below, its glass facade catching the last rays of sun, a far cry from the cold, exclusive shell she'd walked into 6 months back. She'd been there yesterday, slipping in unannounced, not undercover this time, but as herself watching the floor hum with a new rhythm. A black family had browsed a Phantom, the same midnight blue beast that had sparked this war, and David Holloway, the new manager, had guided them through options with a steady warmth, no rush, no redirect. A Latina woman had test-driven the Spectre, grinning as she pulled back in, the salesman high-fiving her kid. Tara had been there too, clipboard in hand, coaching a newbie with a quiet confidence that hadn't existed under Victor's shadow. Lena's chest swelled, a quiet pride threading through the exhaustion that still lingered from the fight. The reforms had stuck training mandatory nationwide. BIS drooled out of every showroom, the oversight team logging complaints and fixing them fast. Baymont Heights was the model now, sales steady, reviews glowing. "Feels like they mean it now," one customer had posted. A sentiment echoed across X. Marcus Evans had come back last month. She'd been there for that too, shaking his hand. As he signed for a Phantom, his grin wide as he'd said, "Took a minute, but you got it right, Miss Harris." She'd laughed, soft but real. "Call me Lena," and watched him drive off. A loose end tied, a promise kept. The ripple had spread beyond her walls. The luxury auto industry was shifting slow, grudging, but real under the weight of Harris. Luxe's stand. Bentley had rolled out inclusivity audits last week. Porsche had fired a manager caught on video brushing off a black buyer. And Mercedes had called her again, their CEO stiff but curious. "How do you pull this off without tankin'?" She'd smirked through the line, by meaning it, and hung up, knowing they'd follow or fade. Customers were louder now, 2X threads popping up weekly, calling out bias at other brands. Hashtags like #luxury for all trending alongside her name. It wasn't perfect, some dealers dug in. Old guard execs grumbling about woke nonsense, but the tide was hers, and she'd ride it as far as it'd go. Victor Grayson was a memory, a cautionary tale whispered in industry circles. James Carter had dug up the last of him holed up in a condo outside Baymont. Jobless, his calls to old allies going straight to voicemail. A former staffer had spilled to Clara Victor's penthouse sold off cheap, his name blacklisted, his "it's just business" bravado buried under the wreckage of his own making. Lena didn't gloat, didn't need to. He'd swung hard and lost harder, a shadow she'd swept aside to clear the path. She turned from the window, grabbing her phone as it buzzed James, his voice crackling with energy. Lena stocks up another point today. New campaigns. Hitting luxury's open door. Tara's idea. Showroom footage is viral, folks loving the vibe. Lena smiled, sinking into her chair, the leather creaking under her. Could tell Tara she's a genius. Industry still twitching? Oh, yeah, James said, a laugh in his tone. Lexus just dropped a fairness pledge. They're chasing your tail. You're seeing this at Baymont Heights? Saw it yesterday, she said, her gaze drifting to Marcus's letter, framed now on her desk. Its breath in feels like mine again. Next stop? James paused, then grinned through the line. Phoenix heard whispers their showrooms got cracks. You going quiet again? Always, Lena said, her smirk returning. Look. It next week. Same drill. Ears open, no filter. On it, James said, keys clicking. Night, Lena, you're killing this. Night. James, keep up, she shot back, hanging up as the quiet settled in, her eyes lingering on the letter. I hope you care enough to read this. She had more than Marcus could have known, and it had changed everything. Lena Harris's run through Harris Luxe Motors ain't just a CEO flex, it's a raw, messy cut of what happens when you face the cracks in your own house and refuse to blink. It starts with a sting Marcus's letter, a slap of truth she didn't see coming, and she dives in, no armor, just grit, feeling the same rejection he did. That's the first lesson. You don't fix what you don't know, and knowing it means getting dirty, walking the floor, talking the hit. Victor's smug. It's reserved, lights the fuse. Tara's quiet fire fans it, and Lena turns a personal wound into a war that remakes her empire. It's not clean boardroom fights, smear campaigns, sleepless nights, but that's the soul here. Seeing the mess, owning it, and building something real from the rubble. The juice is in the shift. Baymont Heights going from a gatekeeper's den to a place where Marcus drives off proud. Tara steps up bold, and Lena proves luxury don't need a color code. It's human as hell, anger, shame, hope tangled up, and every move showing one woman's stand can shake a whole industry. Awake. She started with the dream cars for anyone with the cash, but it's the stumble, the voices she'd missed, that redefine her. The takeaway? Don't let the shine blind you, lift the ones holding it up, or it's all just noise. 6 months. Later, the showroom's a pulse, the industry scrambling. And Lena's name's the beat they can't ignore, legacy carved not in chrome, but in live she's pulled through the door. This ain't a tale to kill time, it's a lens for anyone running a crew, chasing a fight, or holding a vision tight. Step in, see the cracks, make it mean something, not 'cause it's pretty, but 'cause it's deep. That's why we're dropping this on Legacy Stories, to spark that fire, share raw cuts that hit hard and stick. Dig Lena turning a scandal into a win? Want to catch more about folks facing the grind, flipping it, crafting legacies that last? Hit that subscribe on Legacy Stories, jump in, drop your take, spread it wide. We're keeping it rawin', real, and sharp every time. Thanks for ridding. Catch you next round, where the stakes climb and the heart runs true.